Now we can actually talk football, talk Browns regular season football, talk NFL regular season football, because the NFL regular season starts tonight with the Rams and Bills. And the BrownsCast is back for a second season. I'm your host, Josh Poloha. With me, as usual, Joe Gilbert. And we're here to do a little season preview, mainly Browns at Panthers preview, which is coming up on Sunday afternoon. But yeah, if you're watching us live, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And this podcast, like every other Waiting for Next Year official podcast, is brought to you by the Evergreen Podcast Network. Joe, most importantly, how are you doing? How's your short week going? And how excited are you? How are your feelings about Sunday? Are you excited, like nervous, anxious? How are you feeling?
I'm doing well, and yeah, I'm excited about it. It's got a weird feeling to it, more than any other one I can think of. More so in like I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna. I literally it's one of the most kind of up in the air seasons I can think of, because anything can happen. They could bomb. They could really play well, and like it's an array of things that can happen, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen on Sunday.
All right, so let's first things first. This is just like any other season lately. They can be really good. They can be miserable. They can go 0-16. They can be 8-8. They can make the playoffs. But you're right, though. I mean, we all know Deshaun Watson's out 11 games, first 12 weeks of the season with the bye. This offense is led by Jacoby Brissett, and you're right. I mean, it could be ugly. It will be ugly at times. It will be good at times because they had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and we'll get into that.
Yeah,
but I don't know what to think of this season. If I were to predict I think they're going to win Sunday. First off, because I don't want them losing to Baker Mayfield. But if I were to predict a record, like by season's end, I don't think I could, because I have no idea how the season's going to go.
Right. It's basically 2 seasons almost, because we're going to have 11 games of Jacoby Brissett and then the 6 games of Deshaun Watson. It's going to be it's so weird. There's nothing like it that I've felt before as a fan, and it's going to be fun to witness and kind of figure out how it goes as we get down the line. But yeah, I'm excited for Sunday, and we'll see what happens.
I know, only in Cleveland is cliche, but I swear this literally only happens in Cleveland. No shot this happens in any other city.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
True. Before we get into the actual Panthers, though, if you were to predict a record for the season, I'm putting you on the spot. You don't have to answer. You can plead the fifth. What would be your prediction?
Yeah, so I'll give you a sneak peek of our post for tomorrow. I think it'll be 9-8. I think they'll miss the playoffs. I don't. It just seems like it's going to be an uphill battle. Everything, just the quarterback, the quarterback shuffling, and the wide receivers are not the greatest on this team, and that's on top of just the AFC. The whole AFC just being a juggernaut, so it's going to be tough. I think they'll be competitive throughout the season, so it's not going to be one of those normal Brown season where they just get literally blasted out of the stadium. They'll be competitive. They'll win their games, and they'll be in the playoff race for the season. But I think they'll come up short at 9-8.
All right, I like that. That's a bold prediction. Missing the playoffs. I know the AFC is loaded, but yeah, that's that. I'll just go with you because, like I said, I don't have a prediction on this season. I don't really want to have a prediction on this season. But let's get right into it. Browns at Panthers, 1:00 in Carolina. We all know the main storyline. Baker Mayfield. The NFL always knows. Deshaun Watson's first game back in Houston.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield's first NFL game not in a Browns jersey against the Browns.
Yep.
I mean, Does it get better than that? Honestly, I'm kind of. I don't want to wish away the weekend already, but I cannot wait until this game's over just to have the Baker Mayfield talk stop from the Browns side. I cannot wait.
We got to win first. It will not stop
True.
afterwards. It might get worse.
True.
But I'm with you on that. I'm tired of talking about it. We talked about it all off season. Once the trade was made, I'm ready for it to just kind of play out and see where we go. And hopefully, I gotta pray to any God that you go to, please win this game because it will be. You're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to turn the TV on or your radio in the next week or two, probably.
And I would say you shouldn't go on Twitter either, but don't go on Twitter anyways.
Well,
honestly,
yeah.
That's like the number one rule here. Is just don't go on the Twitter. But so it's not just Baker Mayfield reunion, by the way, for the Browns.
Yeah.
The Panthers also have Rashard Higgins, who's Baker's security blanket. We all know that. Austin Corbett, who won a Super Bowl last year with the Rams, correct?
Yeah.
And so he has a Super Bowl ring, and Cameron Ervin. So it's four former Browns going up against Cleveland. I know Baker Mayfield gets all the storylines, deservedly so. But, I mean, I guess let's first start off with the Browns offense. Jacoby Brissett is a guy that I guess I'm not comparing. This people are going to think I'm comparing to Baker. I'm not comparing him to Baker by saying this, but Baker was mainly a guy that wouldn't go out and win you a game, but he would do enough to not lose you the game, if that makes sense. Well, at least when Baker was healthy. I feel like Jacoby Brissett's the same. He's not going to win you the game, but he's average enough where he won't exactly lose you the game either, but he's going to need other players to step up. So let's go. We have to running backs. Probably the most loaded backfield in the NFL. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson, Jerome Ford. Do you think they're going to run the ball until they can't stop running the ball on Sunday? Unless they go down big, which, I mean, I hope they don't. But if you were to predict, one, how much they run the ball, and two, like Nick Chubb, is he going to have 20, 25 carries, 30 carries? How will that all go down?
I do think, I think the run game will be quite big. They really haven't really shown it this preseason. It kind of leads me to believe that they wanted to rest both Hunt and Chubb to make sure that they're healthy for game one. So I expect a heavy dose of both of them. I in terms of carries, I can say probably Chubb will get maybe 20. I don't think 25 or 26 or whatever, but I think he'll get more than what he did last year, which I think was 15 or 16, if I can remember correctly. I just think they're gonna really put their faith behind the offensive line and the running game because it's the strength of the offense right now with uncertainty at wide receiver and quarterback. It's got to be the offense got to be based off of the run game, and I think it's very good, and I think it can definitely keep the offense afloat while the passing game kind of gets going. Hopefully,
I would say it might take a while to get going. It might be like a drag race where like the guy goes to start going and his engine blows out, so it's just like he goes really slow down the whole strip.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see.
I honestly, I know I've said this a lot. I don't know what to think about this offense. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt they can only do so much. We saw at the end of last season when Baker was hurt that team just loaded the box with sometimes even 8 guys and just forced the Browns to pass the ball. With Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and David Njoku, and Harrison Bryant, and Jesse James, third wide receiver or third tight end, Anthony Schwartz. And David Bell. Besides Amari Cooper, there's no. I guess David Njoku is the go-to guy.
Yeah,
but he's a tight end. So I have no faith in my receivers. I know a lot of us have said that. I've said that multiple times in this offseason, but It'll just be interesting to see how they try to move the ball offensively outside of running the ball.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I do think Brissett is an upgrade over what we saw last year in terms of injured Baker. Obviously, that's not a high standard to reach, but I think he's much better than that. And as you said, he's a quarterback that's not going to take risks. He's not going to air it out and kind of turn this offense into a vertical offense, which really they don't really have the personnel right now, anyways. So. It actually might fit better. He's gonna do what's in front of him. He may be late on things, but he's not gonna make the big difference in my eyes between him and Baker. Are you're not gonna see the stupid turnovers that like what the heck's he throwing to. You're just gonna see him miss guys, like not see the opportunity, which we also saw last season with Baker. But yeah, it's you'll see less turnovers, which is good for an offense that is going to be predicated on the run game. That might be better off, anyways. Until we can get our franchise quarterback in. So. I'm not as low as other people are on Brissett. I think he can keep this offense going. I think Amari Cooper is going to have to be probably one of his best seasons in his career because this receiving core needs it. And I just hope either Schwartz or David Bell or Donovan Peoples-Jones, someone steps up to be like the secondary receiver, and that could also be David Njoku or Harrison Bryant. Really, I put on. You'll see it tomorrow in our preview post, but I expect big things from David Njoku. So he might be the second weapon in the passing game that we were kind of hoping a receiver would be.
I really want Njoku to be really good, and well, he needs to be because he's getting paid like a top 5 tight end now.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know.
The opportunity is there. The opportunity is there. The scheme that he's in is there, and I just think he's in his best physical shape and kind of skill set. I think he puts it all together. So that's my prediction.
All right. Another bold prediction by Joe Gilbert.
Don't look at my bold predictions from last year, please. Thank you.
Wait, can we just what were they? Do you remember?
One of them was like Baker Mayfield becomes like the franchise quarterback. That didn't. That didn't turn out well.
I'm pouring one out for you right now.
Pour one out.
No, you just forgot to include Carolina's franchise quarterback in that. So you were semi-right. Yes. You just didn't put the team.
I was 2 steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah. You were playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. So, offensively, I mean, you went over the offense pretty. Amari Cooper is the only receiver that you can really rely on right now. DPJ has shown at times that he can be a number 2 wide receiver, but at other times he's shown that he cannot be. David Bell, a rookie. Anthony Schwartz, we don't need to get into Anthony Schwartz. I hope he proves that he belongs on this team.
Yeah.
But that hope is quickly fading, especially after this preseason.
Yeah.
And then you had David Bell. Oh, no, I already said David Bell. And those are your 4 guys, right? Demetric Felton.
Yeah.
And Michael Woods.
But who the heck knows?
But he hasn't played all preseason. If they're relying on Michael Woods to produce, the Browns are in really big trouble. So we won't even talk about that. So
true.
I get anything else offensively?
It's just going to be interesting to see at center to see how it kind of affects the overall line. We've seen over the past 2-3 years that the line has just been dominant with J.C. Treader under center. So it's going to be interesting to see how much a step down it is to Ethan Postich. So it's going to be. That's something to watch. And then and another kind of difference with with Baker now gone. I want to see how Kevin Stefanski changes his offense, if at all. Like, do we see a systematical change because we have a different quarterback, or it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of navigates a new era under center. So I'm interested to see that too.
For sure. I mean, we've said it's a big year for some player like Amari. It's a big year for him. He can earn another big payday if he has a good year. And Joku, it's a big year for him because he needs to prove that he is like a top 5 tight end.
Mm-hmm.
But for Kevin Stefanski too, whether he has Deshaun Watson or not, this is a huge year for Stefanski, especially after what happened last year or what didn't happen last year, I guess. But and Stott Van, I was gonna say Stott Van Pelt.
I was like, where are you going with this?
and Alex Van Pelt, right?
Yeah,
it's Alex Van Pelt.
Yeah.
I don't know why SVP quickly popped into my mind, but it's a huge year for the whole offense, coaching and player wise. The only thing that we can for sure count on is that the offensive line is really good, assuming they stay healthy, and the running backs are really good, assuming they stay healthy. Everything else is like one big question mark.
Yep. Yes, it is. But let's move to the defense where it's actually
let's move to the better. I'd say the best side of the ball by far. If you were to say you could only choose one side of the ball for the Browns, I'd say defense 100 times out of 100.
Yeah.
Let's start up front. Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney. They should feast on Sunday, and by feast I mean get feast in Carolina's backfield because Carolina's offensive line is not good. I mean, not to be a hater, but Cameron Ervin is. I think he might start. Is he starting on their offensive line?
Let's see. I forget who they. Let's see. Because
Austin Corbett, he's a Super Bowl champion, so I can't hate on him. But I mean, if you have Cameron Ervin starting on the offensive line, I think that's the issue number one.
Right. Yeah, that's. Let's see. So, they also, I know they drafted a tackle. Yeah, he's starting. That's what I thought. So Ikem Ekwonu, he's their first round pick from this. He's very good. So, but it's obviously his first. It's going to be his first time in the NFL playing, and guess what? You get to play Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. So welcome. That's gonna be a fun time.
And Myles Garrett. They can say what they want to say, but Myles Garrett wants to break the sacks record this Sunday. No matter what he says pregame, in the back of his head he wants to break the sacks record, single game sacks record, whatever that number is. He wants that number.
Especially if you saw that, if you read the article today from I think it was Cleveland.com.
MKC. It was
He's got some motivation to go. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I mean, I know one of the snippets was that Baker Mayfield texted Myles after Baker got traded, and Myles just didn't respond. So I was like, all right, well, that's all you need to know about that relationship. So, Myles Garrett's going to say the usual player talk where he's not going to say much of anything but talk a lot. But deep down, if he was off the record, he'd say, I want to sack Baker Mayfield 10,000 times out of 10,000. But so they have Clowney and Garrett on the outside. This is both I guess this is mainly a Browns Panthers preview, but it's also the season. The biggest thing I'm worried about both on Sunday and all season, the interior defensive line. Because much like the wide receivers, there is very little experience. So yes, you have two great defensive ends.
Experience.
If you take out Amari Cooper, So you have Clowney and Garrett, which somewhat make up for it. But what are your thoughts on the interior defensive line?
Yeah, this is a huge year for Jordan Elliott. It's his first time. It'll be coming out of the preseason as a starter. He's got to have a big year. They need someone to step up. They haven't had anybody really play there consistently since Sheldon Richardson was there, and that was 2 years ago. So it's they need someone, anybody. There are 4 young guys in there. There's it's him and then Tavon Bryan, who they signed this offseason. Perrion Winfrey, who they're who they drafted this year, and then Tommy Togiai, Ohio State guy, who they drafted last year. Obviously, none of those guys have had super productive careers in the NFL, but they all are drafted guys that are they have the talent, they just haven't showed it on a consistent basis. So it's gonna be something to watch to see if they can actually come together. So one of them, two of them, hopefully can kind of assert themselves to be a productive player inside. It does help that you have the two of the best pass rushing duos in the league. So it kind of alleviates the stress on them, and they can move both Miles and Jadavion can move inside to kind of alleviate the pressure on the interior. But they still need guys to step up, and I'm looking towards Jordan Elliott to be the top guy, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, if he steps up though, the defensive line is going to be a problem for opposing offenses and offensive lines. Because I mean, if you have Clowney and Garrett on the outside, and you have like someone say that is a B player out of if it's A, B, C, D, E, F, if he's a B on the interior defensive line, my goodness. I mean, it doesn't matter who's in your defensive backfield.
Yeah.
But so that's what were you gonna say something else?
No, you're good.
Okay. So let's move back to linebackers. Another, I wouldn't say iffy. It's not the most dominant linebacking core, but with JOK and Anthony Walker, who was named a captain, I'd take that.
I'm all right.
I would absolutely take that.
We've seen so much worse at linebacker. This is the best they've had in several years, I would say. I expect big things from JOK. I think he's going to have a breakout year, even more than what he did in his rookie season. And then Anthony Walker, he really is. He was the consummate guy last year. He kind of just did his job. He didn't lose games. He didn't win games, but he was out there and did well. He's obviously a leader if he's the captain. He was the captain. I expect, and then I expect Jordan Phillips to play. Hopefully he can make an impact. And then Sione Takitaki kind of just is there. He does his job well as the strong side run defender. It's such a better positioning at linebacker than they've been in before. So I'm all right with that position. I really think there's only two clear weaknesses on this team in terms of positioning, and that's the receiver and interior defensive line. And that's how many times have we said that before?
Zero.
Yes.
Well, at least in my lifetime, 0.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, I agree with you though. Linebacking core, I'm completely fine with, especially JOK. Hopefully, he makes a leap his sophomore year and not have a sophomore slump.
Yeah.
I mean, JOK and Anthony Walker, I'm completely A-OK with that. So let's move back to the defensive backfield, which I will call right now. It is one of, if not the best in the NFL. I'm making that known.
Yep.
Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, I'd say he's probably questionable at best for Sunday.
Yeah,
against Carolina. I know he was limited
today, I think.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play on Sunday. But even then, I mean, Greedy Williams is good. But when you have like John Johnson and I know Grant Delpit, Denzel Ward, EJ Emerson, the rookie, he probably will get some extended time if Greedy's out. And then you have AJ Green and I mean, the list goes on. There's so much talent in the defensive backfield. It's crazy.
Especially at corner. The corner position is just absolutely loaded. They have 5 guys that I would not be concerned with if they had to play. And that's pretty impressive for where they stand right now. I expect the secondary needs to be the cornerstone of the defense. They need to do their job and shut down opposing passing games, because that's the key, obviously, in the NFL now. Slowing down the opposing offense's passing game, and they have the the edge rushers and they have the secondary to do that. So it's gonna be fun to watch how they kind of progress. And it's the second year for pretty much everybody, pretty much all the starters, obviously, and then a lot of the deaf guys. It's the second year in the system, so a second year bump can also be a thing to see too. So I'm super excited. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Man, so two really good defensive ends and a good
Sorry,
defensive
I'm
back.
getting distracted by I see The Rock on my television starting off the NFL right now.
I'm not turning that on until we're done here. That way I'm not distracted yet. But so let's bring this all back to Sunday. We know Clowney and Myles Garrett will likely dominate. Hopefully they will. We need them to, or the Browns need them to.
Got you.
How do you think the defensive backfield plays? Like, do you see quite a few interceptions? Do you see some pick sixes? Do you just see pass breakups? What are some of your predictions for Sunday?
Yeah, I think they match up well with this receiving core. Obviously, the guy you want to work out for is DJ Moore. He's their best receiver. Robbie Anderson is also on the team. He's a deep threat, so you got to kind of watch out for them. But they really, God, we'll see so many better receiving cores over the course of the season, and especially in our division, the Cincinnati Bengals are probably the top one, close to it at least. So I think they'll match up fine. And basically it falls on the quarterback, and I think this matchup really works for the Browns. I know we have the curse of the first game, and we haven't won since Jeff Garcia was on the team. But I really believe that in terms of just straight matchups, that this is a good one for the Browns. They're facing a pretty poor offensive line versus a quarterback who really struggles versus pressure. You have two of the best edge rushing duos in the league. You have a great secondary to hold it down in the back end. I really think the defense is going to play well. It's just about scoring points on offense, and if they can get enough points there.
That is a big. So, are you thinking a high scoring game or a low scoring game?
I think low. I know a lot of people have said they think it's going to be a shootout. I disagree. I just don't see, both offenses are not the strengths of their team. Carolina's defense is better than their offense. And obviously, as we've been talking about, the Browns defense right now, at least, is better than the offense. So I expect a low-scoring game. I think Cade York might be an important player today on Sunday, and let's hope he's up for
it. Man, imagine a Cade York game winner. If Cade York hits a game winner to beat Baker Mayfield's team, there might be a Cade York statue outside First Entry for the home opener.
Yeah. Yep. Phil Dawson, who?
Wow. I hope someone just records that little part and just records the Phil Dawson who. Just not click, just block quote Joe Gilbert so bad. Just only had the quotes Joe Dawson who.
But sticking with Cade for just a second, he will help the offense in terms of kind of alleviating the pressure of having to last season, what yard line did we have to get to score some points, like the 20, to feel comfortable?
That's a 37-yarder. That's still
right. I know, like, to feel comfortable, like you had to get it quite.
You'd have to get to the 0-yard line.
Yeah, you had to get in the red zone.
Yeah, 0. If you're on with inside the 1, that means it's a 17 to 18-yard field goal. I'm comfortable with that.
Right. It's like, so we're gonna feel like what the Ravens, hopefully, knock on wood, that Cade York is who we think he is and what he's shown already in the preseason. He's a quarterback or a kicker that can actually make the tough kicks.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
I got wood right there. There we go. Yeah. So it's gonna help out the offense, especially early on when it's gonna be a lot of moving parts on offense. So the kicking game will definitely be important on Sunday and then going forward.
So I guess that brings us to our last unit, special teams. It's clear that you are okay with Cade York.
Oh, I love Cade York.
How about me too? How about the punting situation? And with Jakeem Grant now out for the season after he tore his Achilles a few weeks ago in practice, how are your feelings? So, how are your feelings about punting, kick returns, and punt returns?
So I'm happy with the punter. I think Corey. I'm not even going to pronounce his last name. I think he's a good pro. He's experienced and he has a really strong leg. So it's going to be nice not seeing these wobbly ducks that we saw from the Scottish Hammer over the past couple of years.
Oh God,
it's just going to be nice to not worry. Hopefully, not worry about our two specialists because we've had to the last couple of years, and it's going to be nice to see that. In terms of punt return and returning game, I'm not very high on Dimitrik. Quite frankly, I just hope he makes the catch and fair catches every single one. I don't.
Joe Gilbert hoping for something really, really, really fun.
Just make the darn catch and stay there and don't cause any penalties. Like, how many times do we see it on a return where there's just flags? Like, at this point,
every time,
right? At this point, just down it. Let's just go.
Man, I remember when I was so excited that Jakeem Grant was a Brown when they signed him.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, we're actually going to be able to do something in kick returns and punt returns. And now here we are back to square one.
I think it was the first week of training camp or something. Like, God almighty.
And one-on-one drills.
Right. It wasn't even, it wasn't, there was no contact. It was, they could have shored up all three of their special teams and not to be.
Yeah, and now here we are back to hoping that the guy fair catches it. Man, what a blast!
I know, right? But at this point, that's a win.
Describe the Browns since 1999. A fair catch is a win. But so back to, I guess, the Panthers more. The Panthers game. I mean, what are your? I mean, I feel like we just flew through it. It's already been 33 minutes, though. What are your predictions for Sunday?
I think
not just score prediction, but like, will Baker Mayfield play well? And it'll be a high. Well, you said low scoring game already, but will Baker Mayfield do well? Christian McCaffrey? How will the Browns defense do? How will the Browns offense do? Etc.
I think the Browns win, and I don't think Baker's going to be horrible, but I think he'll make some crucial mistakes that kind of help the Browns win. As I said, I think everything is kind of lined up well in this terms of matchup. It's a poor offensive line, and it's a quarterback who really, really struggles under pressure. And I think that will turn into a mistake that kind of turns the game around towards the Browns. So, I think it's going to be a low scoring. Maybe I would say, God, I think maybe 20 points might win the game at the most.
So bet the under for everyone listening. Bet the under.
What is the under right now?
The over under. By the way, I was looking into 50, the betting side. The betting side, it's currently a pick'em for that. But as far as the number goes, 42. It started off at 43. It's down to 42.
Yeah.
So Vegas doesn't think it's to be. Vegas basically thinks whoever gets to 21 first is going to win.
Yeah. Take the under. Still. So I think it's going to be low scoring. I think Browns win. Start 1-0. They finally break the streak. I think this is It's gonna to me, like, this streak has just been historically crazy. This would be the year that they break it. That's all I say. Like, we have so much uncertainty this season, and they go out and kind of break the streak. So I feel like they actually do, and they win this game.
Man, so their second win in the season opener since 1999. I think it'll be their first one since 2004, correct?
Whatever Jeff Garcia was here.
Which is that is crazy that the Browns have only won one week one game since 1999. That is bonkers.
Yeah. And Jeff
that
Garcia
is so. I'll never.
Now has gray hair and.
True. And by the way, for those of you watching live, Buffalo just went on the field and scored easily 7-0.
Yes.
Gabe Davis 26-yard touchdown. Josh Allen 5-for-5. Man, I am so jealous of Buffalo fans. Damn it.
I know.
All right, so back to the Browns Panthers. I think Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett will have a field day. I have no predictions on the Browns offense. I mean, I think the Browns are going to win as well. I think they'll end the streak, which means I guess Nick Chubb and or Kareem Hunt will likely have a good day because they're going to run the ball a lot because one, it'll be low scoring, and two, they'll be winning. So obviously. And by the way, I love those stats when it's like the Browns are 60-1 when Nick Chubb has 25 carries. Well, obviously, the more carries he has, it's likely a good chance that they're winning the game.
You're right. Yeah, but I know. Those are always those stats that you can always put in there. Like, obviously, they run the ball.
The Cleveland Guardians are 40-0 this year when Emmanuel Clase records a save. It's crazy how when he records a save, the Indians win or the Guardians win. It's a crazy concept.
That was similar to the stat. I think it was last year. It was like if Baker throws under like 20 passes or something like that, they win. Like, no crap, dude. Duh.
And analytics. #analytics. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the Browns win as well. Start off 1-0, which is it doesn't happen too often. So if it does happen, enjoy it. And in the wise words of Paul Dolan, enjoy it. Enjoy him. Man, I'm talking a lot of Guardians last minute.
You are.
But so yeah, it would be their first win since 2004, which is still. I mean, every time I say that, I just like, man, that is crazy. 18 years. Was the last time they won a season opener.
I was what?
Bonkers. I was 13 years old.
I was 13 too. Yeah.
Man, I didn't even have a cell phone, and now here we are, podcasting about it.
Right.
So but besides that, I don't really have many predictions. I don't know. I feel like it's to be a low-scoring game. I mean, obviously Vegas has it 42. You have first to 20 wins, so basically you're right around 42 over/under as well. I don't know. I mean, Nick Chubb can go off and have 3 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield can throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns. That will put that 42 right there without anything else. Yeah. So I don't know. But the only prediction I have is that the Browns will win. That's the only thing I'm going with. No score prediction, nothing. Because I'm being lazy like that. So
20-14.
Oh, two field goals by the Browns or a missed extra point?
2 field goals. I think Cade York, man. In Cade York, we trust.
Oh, gosh. I hope. It'll be the first time when the Browns have had a kicker since Joe Gilbert's Phil Dawson who.
Love you,
but
Phil.
I mean, I know I figured we'd go for at least an hour on this podcast because it seems like we always do, but we just flew through both sides of the ball. I mean, it's just still crazy to me that the NFL lined it up perfectly. So Baker Mayfield goes against Cleveland Browns week 1. I mean, the NFL knows.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how, but the NFL knows always. They always do. So I know this is a Browns Panthers preview, but it's kind of like a season preview too. Any final thoughts / bold predictions for Sunday and for the 17-game season overall?
I think as I said, I think they'll be in the playoff race throughout the whole season. It's not going to be some drudge to the second round draft pick because we don't have a first round draft pick.
Oh God!
By the way, go off tangent here. Both the Cavs and the Browns would have not a lot of draft talk surrounding those two teams in the next few years. So I thought that's pretty funny. So everybody has to get up on the Guardians draft picks. We gotta keep our draft love going.
Oh goodness, the guys that won't see the MLB roster, if they do, for like 4
If they
years.
do,
Fun
yeah.
times.
I think it's gonna be a fun game. Kind of fun. This off season, I wrote a couple times. This seemed like the longest off season I've ever went. Like it was draft. It seemed like the draft was like 10 months ago.
It does. If you would have told me that the draft was 5 years ago, I'd believe you.
Right. And that was like the middle of the off season. Semi in the middle. Like, God, I'm just happy that the games are here. We can finally stop talking about stuff that we repeat on ad nauseum. We can finally see what this.
Wait, hold on. You know that's going to continue.
True.
You know that's going to continue.
At least we'll have some evidence to back our statements up.
Like, what I'm really curious about is if the Browns win Sunday, how will Baker Mayfield be incorporated in the week 2 preview? Because the Baker Bros and the guys that love talking about Baker on Twitter will somehow incorporate him into the week 2 Browns somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Like, who do they play week 2? I don't even know. It's a home game. So, do you know what? Browns Jets in Cleveland. That's when Baker made his debut.
That is true. That is true.
That's how. Do you remember the last time the Browns played the Jets in Cleveland? That was when Baker Mayfield made his debut, and that's how some story somewhere is going to start off.
Let's not talk about the last time they played the Jets, though. That was when their whole receiving core was on the COVID list.
Although I know this is a week 1 preview, but week 2, the Browns are going against Joe freaking Flacco, which the fact that he's still in the league is beyond crazy to me. The fact that he can still throw footballs, man. I mean, the Browns. Let's just say that the Browns should start off 2-0. Let's just put it that way.
Should, yes, but will they? Is the question.
That's true. So before we get going here, I have an ad to read too. But before we get going here, anything else you want to say? I don't have anything.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that horrible season as some people. I've seen some wild predictions on Twitter and on just TV as from the national people. I think they'll be competitive. I think you'll see a better offense passing game than last year, but that's not saying much. I really think Amari Cooper is going to be. He's going to be a guy. He's going to be a really fun guy to watch because really we haven't had a receiver like that. Like when Odell Beckham was here, they never threw it to him. And Amari is better than Jarvis ever wish he could be. So it's gonna be fun to see him kind of make his mark. He's gonna be utilized a lot because who else are you gonna throw to? So Amari's gonna be fun to watch. I'm expecting big things from Chubb. He's healthy. The team needs him, so I think I expect big things from him. And obviously, we talked about the defense. They're going to be good. I really believe. We thought that coming in the last year that there'd be a really good team or a unit. It took a while, but at the end of the season, they really played well, and I think they'll shoot off of that and be even better. And I am excited to see that. I think they'll keep the team afloat as the offense kind of struggles along.
Man, so just like a normal Brown season, huh?
Right. Yeah, we're gonna go back to the way back when like we couldn't score points. Who were our quarterbacks then? Like
that was like 19 quarterbacks ago. Like 7 years, 19 quarterbacks.
So we're going back to the time of like, oh man,
Jeff Garcia. Kelly Holcomb, Derek Anderson,
Brady Quinn, in that era. Before
Brandon
Derek Anderson. Yeah. Brandon Whedon. Oh God.
Sorry, Brandon Whedon was still probably stuck underneath the flag. I was just trying to help him out.
Wasn't that opening day?
Yeah, because I think that's the only time that they bring out that huge flag, right?
I think
Man,
so.
that's when we should have known. When the moment that happened, we should have known. Not only that Brandon Whedon wasn't the guy, that the Brown season was just going to be horrible.
We should have known when we drafted a 27-year-old rookie quarterback. But that's beyond the. That's an argument for another day.
So that brings us to our ad. We are now semi-sponsored here at Waiting for Next Year. It is by BetterHelp. That is BETTER help. And it is that is our first. I guess this is my first ad read. So sorry if I'm struggling here. But now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. BETTERHELP. So have you ever been stuck? I mean, let's do it. Brandon Whedon got stuck underneath the flag. He probably could not think of positive thoughts that whole game, maybe the whole season. Have you ever just been lost and feel like you can't get out of that hole and just can't think of positive thoughts? Seriously though, counseling is good for everyone. You don't want to admit to it because you feel like, especially as like a male, because I'm a male, so like you feel like you're like downgrading yourself if you go to counseling, but it is good for everyone. It can help you out, whether it's seeing positively about your life, whether it's trying to get out of that hole, anything, like personal, family, anything. BetterHelp, BETTERHELP. Give it a try. I personally have not had any experience with that, but if you do, there's nothing wrong with that. So when you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp.com/WFNY today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp.com/WFNY. Yeah, like it's hard for me to like do an ad when I have no experience. But as a Browns fan, I can totally see, like, I know there's way more serious things in sports, but like it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes. So I somewhat understand as well.
Yeah, a lot of things can affect your life. So, and sports is one of them. So yeah,
sports is one way. I guess sports is kind of like a therapy for some people because like you can watch a Browns game and slowly be focused for 3 to 3.5 hours on the Browns. And just nothing else in life matters. Which, and you know what I mean? Yeah. That's why sports is so awesome and crazy all at once. Because, I mean, when like I know I was in Columbus last week for the Ohio State Notre Dame game. Nothing else mattered. Like politics didn't matter. What was going on in the world didn't matter. Nothing. It was just like we were all Ohio State fans, and we all agreed that. You know what I mean? It's just crazy how sports like unite people like that.
Yep.
So now that we're done with that ad, any final thoughts?
No, I just think Browns win and finally go 1-0. Can't wait to see that on the little ticker on the bottom. Hopefully,
for the first time. So I know this is the preview, Browns Panthers preview. The Browns have one win since 1999 in the season opener. It was in 2004. They're trying to break that streak. They're trying to beat Baker Mayfield and Cameron Irving and Rashard Higgins. And I'm missing one. He was a Super Bowl champion last year. And now I can't think of his name. Austin Corbett. So they're trying to beat those 4 former Browns. Just start off 1-0. I know it's in Carolina. The game is currently a pick-em in Vegas. I don't see how the Browns lose, though. I'll be honest. I don't see how the Browns lose. And I feel like Vegas, without looking at the numbers, I feel like Vegas probably agrees to because I'm pretty sure last week the Panthers were
the
Panthers were 2.5 point favorites.
Yeah, a couple of days ago, I think it was 2.5. And yeah, it's definitely has shifted over the past couple of days. I think it kind of shifted a little way too much because they were favored, if I'm not mistaken, weren't they? weren't they favored like when the schedule came out? If I'm not
Panthers or Browns?
Browns. I thought they.
I honestly don't know.
I
No,
swear,
they haven't had odds. They haven't had odds since Deshaun Watson was suspended the first time because it was off the board. But I don't know what it opened at. Actually, you know what? I'll look that up right now. If you keep talking just to kill time, I'll look that up and see what they opened at.
I feel like it changed once Baker got traded, and then when the suspension kind of got ruled out.
Yes,
and I think it went way too much towards the Panthers, and I think it's evening out right now.
Yeah, so the Browns, I don't know when it opened. I'm assuming it was after Deshaun Watson, but the Browns start off -4, which seems like a lot for an away team. Because I think in the NFL, the away team gets 3 or 4 points. So if they're going to be a pick 'em and a neutral, so think of it, I'm trying to like break this down into people that don't like betting. So if they were playing at a neutral field and the Panthers and Browns were a pick 'em, since it's at Carolina, it would be Panthers minus. I'm pretty sure it's 3 or 3.5. So if it was at Cleveland, that would give Cleveland 3.5 points. So they'd be 3.5 point favorites. So the fact that it opened Browns -4 and it's at Carolina seems odd to me. But hey, I mean, it came back and now it's a pick 'em. So
yeah, pick 'em.
And a pick 'em means that it's literally zero. You don't bet a line. You just bet who's going to win the game.
And if you're wondering why we're talking about betting, hey, December 31st, midnight, you can start betting in Ohio.
When the ball drops.
I
wonder if wait, that we'll just let that go. We'll just let that go and act like that didn't happen. All right, so I'm with Joe Gilbert, and our next ad is okay. Never mind. But January 1st, if betting becomes legal, it'll be interesting to see how many people are at the casino or casinos or wherever the sports books are on New Year's Eve to place that first bet. Although, no, now that I think about it, if betting is legal January 1st, you don't even have to be at a sports book. You can just start betting on whatever app you want. I heard something about there's going to be 50 apps. 50.
Yeah, 50. I know the Horseshoe already has one, like for practice.
And I know that so Joe Gilbert, I say Joe. I always say Joe Gilbert because we have Joe Gerber as well. So I always call him Gilbert. But Joe here, he always writes a preview. But as we always say, it's a lot easier to talk than this to type. So that's why we will have 2 podcasts a week. We will have a preview podcast, a post-game podcast. Post-game, it'll be probably within an hour of the end of the game because Joe is a season ticket holder. So for home games, it'll be a little bit later. Away games, it might be right after the game. But we'll have 2 podcasts a week. And then once betting becomes legal, we could also have a betting podcast, which would be I'm honestly really looking forward to that because there are so many different avenues you can go.
Really, there is, yeah. It's I'm just excited for the state. It's another revenue, obviously, for funding things. So, and obviously, I like Vegas and all that. So I was always kind of jealous when I went to Vegas and I left. I couldn't do it again. So it's going to be nice to be able to do it in Ohio, and it's gonna be fun. And it just kind of expands the things that we can talk about.
A lot.
Let's just say a lot.
It does. It really does. Because once betting becomes legal, you can literally bet. I mean, let's look at the Super Bowl. You can bet on how long the national anthem is going to be.
Yep.
What color Gatorade is going to be poured on the winning coach.
Yep.
You can probably bet on the first play. Is it going to be a pass or run? Is the first score going to be a field goal or a touchdown? Is there going to be anything that you can think of involving a game?
Yep.
It could be like, are they going to show someone eating a hamburger and a hot dog during the game? It's anything you can think of. There's a prop bet for it. It's crazy.
And it's really fun. It's really fun. Like if you ever been to Vegas and like actually watched like a big game or anything at a sports book, it's an experience. It's because you get different cheers for just random random parts of the game. It's a fun. It's another. It's sort of like fantasy football. It's just another way of kind of rooting for something in sports. Like your team may lose, but you may win.
So as a Browns fan, it's really good. Like I know one of my buddies who lives out west where betting's legal. He is like an interception guy. Will this guy throw an interception or not? So he literally just tweeted out he's celebrating because he bet that Josh Allen would throw an interception tonight. And Josh Allen is 10 for 11, his only incompletion, an interception. So he won money for that. He's a betting dude.
It was like a rip away interception too.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
See, I'm not watching. I just saw his tweet. I have tweet notifications on for him, so I just saw his tweet. But yeah, betting's awesome. Here's to hoping that the Browns season's awesome. Here's to hoping that week 1 on Sunday is awesome. Because if Baker Mayfield and the Panthers beat the Browns, man, don't listen to Sports Talk Radio. Probably stay off of Twitter. Just
stay off of the television.
Just go hide. Go hide in a hole. Yeah,
you can watch the news or movies.
Netflix. I can guarantee you, man. Joe talking about Netflix and chilling and New Year's Eve. That's 2 strikes for you, sir. But seriously, I mean, I hope the Browns win because it could be ugly and very, very, very annoying if they lose.
Yeah, agreed.
So we will be back with you Sunday, probably like 4:30ish, 5 at the latest is my guess, but don't quote me on that. But we'll be back with you, hopefully talking about how the Browns just won their first season opener since 2004.
I think we're doing 5:15. We have a new
5:15 it is.
Yes.
5:15 it is. Maybe sooner, probably not later. But yeah, let's just sometime within an hour of the Browns game ending, we will be back here. Hopefully talking about a Browns win and how Baker Mayfield lost. Until then, and as always, well, 1, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy the start of your weekend. And as always,